What is up, guys, and welcome into another episode of the Ain't It Funky podcast. My guest today is Hasmon Abraham II, widely known as Haze Amaze. Haze is the drummer for one and only rap legend Nas and is a worldwide recognized force behind the kit. Haze has accumulated 152,000 followers on Instagram through his really exuberant personality and his insane chops content. In our conversation, Haze and I spoke about how he got the Nas gig and life on the road with him and DJ Green Lantern, how he approaches practice, his golden advice to up-and-coming young players, and more. If you enjoy this episode, please like and subscribe wherever you're listening. The video version is available on YouTube as well. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy. All right, Haze Amaze, welcome into the podcast.
What's going on, Harry? How you doing?
Dude, I am telling you, I'm stoked that you're on here, man. This has been, I've hoped for this to happen for a long time, and finally we're here. Finally, you're on the podcast, and I appreciate you taking the time, man.
Yes, sir. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be here. I appreciate you for even months ago asking me, can I be a part of this? And, coming out to the show while I was out there just kind of solidified it. And, I'm glad that we were able to do this now.
Yeah, man. But that Nas show was freaking unbelievable. And as I told you at the time, because obviously I was stood kind of right in front of you, and I feel like obviously not Nas is the icon that he is, but I was kind of looking at you more than Nas himself, because I was so fascinated by just your like powerhouse playing, just the force of nature, limbs flying everywhere, big grin on your face, like singing along, catching the stabs and stuff. Man. Dude, amazing! It was such a pleasure to watch you play, man.
Yeah, no, it's always fun hitting the stage with Nas. It's just like, for me, it's like me being young and then him being the legend and icon in hip hop that he is. Like, a lot of the music came out before I was even able to understand what he was even saying. You know what I mean? So to be able to be on the gig and go back and listen just through his whole catalog, just like, wow, this dude, he speaks in his music like, it's like poetry, you know what I mean? Like not just a rapper. It's like poetry inside of a song where things are rhyming and going to a beat, you know what I mean? But yeah, just to be able to accompany him on the stage, it's a great feeling. And then, as you saw, it's me and the DJ. So, me and DJ Green Lantern, like, over the past couple of years, we've developed a great connection. And then the team, you know what I mean? His team and our team on the road, and everything just goes apart in playing, like you said, the big grin on my face while I'm playing. Not only do I get joy while I'm playing the drums, but to be able to do what I love to do for a living, you know what I mean? To be overseas in the first place is a blessing. It's something I've always dreamed to do, and by God's grace, I've been able to do that over the past few years. Everything around it just makes it that much better. So it was a great show. We had fun. Y'all's energy was amazing the whole time. So yeah, man, it's a blessing.
Yeah, man. I feel like Berlin definitely has good crowds, and people get really involved. People, even though obviously German is the mother tongue here, I feel like people still sing all the lyrics, or in this case, rap all the lyrics, and
right.
But then, I mean, obviously it's Nas has so many hits, and I love that there was like the obviously you guys played Illmatic, the whole album, and then that you went into like a kind of medley. You just, like, the rest of the show is just kind of like like 1.5 2 minutes of like each hit song that he has, like going from one song to the next, transitioning from one of them, and it's just like, I was like, oh damn, really, that just happened, man. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think the craziest part about it is because because this year 2024 was the 30th year of Illmatic, of course, his anniversary tour. So being able to do that show from top to bottom of Illmatic all the way through with, little remixes here and there to just kind of make it more fun and more fresh and new for what we wanted to do this year on this run. It was special. I feel like because when I first started playing with them, of course, Illmatic was the first thing that I listened to all the way through. And over the years, you get a set list and you get songs that you do. So you kind of just stick to listening to that. But before this tour, going back and just listening through to each song from Genesis, which is the intro, to what's the last song? Ain't Hard to Tell.
Yeah.
Just kind of listening through and really understanding like, okay, this dude is speaking just through experience. Like he's telling his everyday life in these songs. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like being able to paint a picture in your head through words. You know what I mean? Like that's literally the feeling that I got when I first heard New York State of Mind. I was just like, dang, like you can literally imagine everything that this dude is saying through his rhymes, but yeah, and then, doing the rest of his hits through the medleys and it's just always cool. You know what I mean? Always cool to see how many verses we're gonna do, see when he's like, hold up. You know what I mean? Like, and being able to just live in that moment, you know what I mean? Like he gets hype, we get hype, y'all get hype, and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like it's super cool every single time.
Oh man, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. But take me back to what actually, like, how did you actually get the Nas gig? Like, tell me how that kind of came about and getting the call for that gig.
It was back in 2022. I was playing with an artist at the Smoke and Grooves Festival that's in Los Angeles, California. And we performed at like 12 p.m. that day or something like that. And, festivals, they run all day. And Nas, he wasn't playing until like 10:50 something that night, I think it was. So the lady who was managing him, tour managing, should I say, she was doing tour managing for him that day. Between two people, which was a guy named Flav, who was our tour manager at the time, and then a guy named Keith. He's a lighting director. I know him from back here in DC. I've known him for lots of years now. But between them two, they both were just telling me, I really want you to stick around because I want to introduce you to this lady. And, because 50 Cent, he had a tour coming up. And, Darius Whitley is his drummer. So Darius had to go out with 50, and there was going to be a slot opening for DJ D Nice. And DJ D Nice, he had some stuff coming up. So, obviously he needed a fill-in drummer. I think it's normally just him and the drummer doing their thing. So they was like, I really want you to stick around and everything like that. And I'm like, all right, cool. So mind you, we performed at 12 p.m. So a couple hours go by. I'm like, dang, I don't want to just be sitting here all day, like doing nothing. Like it was cool because I got to meet a bunch of people. I got to meet Questlove, Ronald Bruno was there, Thundercat, just a bunch of people was there that I've seen maybe on like Instagram and stuff like that, and I actually got to meet them. So by the time 7:00 rolls around, I'm like, bro, I don't feel like eating no more of this food truck food. I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? So I was honestly about to leave, but the guy Keith, he pulled me to the side. He said, I really, really want you to stay, and I really want to introduce you to this tour manager because I think that, y'all are going to do great things or whatever like that. And for me, when somebody vouches for somebody else like that in a sincere manner, then I'm like, all right, they mean business. You know what I mean? So, oh, he's falling asleep now. So, we stay for the rest of the day, and after Nas performs, we go back to the dressing room, and I meet the lady who's doing tour managing, and she's like, "Can you sing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can sing," like, and she already knew that I could play and stuff like that because of what Keith and Flavor had been telling her. And it just so happened that day was the last day that Eddie Cole, he was the drummer for Nas and singer for Nas. He was going on to do Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas. And that was his last gig. So after that, Nas would have needed a drummer to play. So, she's like, all right, cool. Send me what you got. Here's my number, blah, blah. I send her my resume and stuff. I don't hear nothing back. I'm like, all right, cool. If something is meant to be, it's meant to be. So, what was that? I think that was March of 2022. And then, wait, was that March? I don't know if that was February or March, but I know, like a month after that, I get a call from the tour manager, and she's like, "Hey, Nas has a run coming up in Europe. Are you available to do it?" And I already had some prior obligations. I was supposed to be in Aruba that coming weekend, and I had a few other gigs lined up for the next couple of weeks. So I was like, "Nah, I already got some stuff in line. I won't be able to do the tour." And she's like, "All right, cool. I'll keep looking." And when she said, "I'll keep looking," in my mind, I was like, dang, did I just blow an opportunity? You know what I mean? That could have been something big. So I called my wife and I was like, hey, babe. Well, she wasn't my wife then. She was my fiance. She's my wife now. I called her and I was like, I just got a call to go on tour with Nas. And she was like, did you take it? I said, no. She was like, call back. You know what I mean? And I was like, all right. I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. So I called my friend Alton. Before I called back and said I could do it, I called my friend Alton and was like, yo, I have some dates. Here's the music. If you're available, please let me know. He said he was available. I said, here are the dates and here's all the music that you need. I just start sending him stuff. And at the time that I'm sending him stuff, I called the tour manager back and was like, hey, is the position still open? And she's like, yeah, we haven't filled it yet. And I was like, I'm available to do it. She was like, all right, cool. I'll send you the previous set list and, I'll be in contact with you about passport and all of that type of stuff. So, yeah, I made the call to the music director for one of the gigs I was supposed to do, and he wasn't too excited. You know what I mean? Like he was like, it's dope that you getting the opportunity. You know what I mean? But we had this locked in, blah blah blah, and I understood his side, but it's not like I left them out to dry. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I didn't have somebody to come and fill in for that position. And then I called the other music director, who is Young World. He's one of my mentors. And, I called him and told him the situation. He was like, bro, go do your thing. Like, I'm happy for you, go crush it. All that type of stuff. He was like, we'll be good. Like, I know you got somebody that can fill in, but, we'll be good or whatever like that. So, yeah, man. Maybe that next week. I think she sent me about 20 something songs to learn. And that next week, we had a rehearsal. I flew out to Phoenix to rehearse with the DJ. So what was this? I think this was gonna be this was the 17th of somewhere. This is some type of 17th. I just remember the 17th being in my head. So flew out to Arizona, and did the rehearsal. And I don't think I did great in the rehearsal. I was playing the songs and stuff like that, but a lot of the songs that I would have had to sing were just out of my register. They were out of my range. So I wasn't singing them, even though I tried and stuff like that. But they, just too high. So we do the rehearsals and it's like, all right, cool, good to meet you or whatever like that. And it was just me and the DJ in a room, a small room. He's spinning and I'm playing. Before that, and I might still have my notes too. I'm gonna see if I can find some of the notes I took. I was taking notes on my actual notepad that I used to have, but of course, I copied everything into my phone. I don't have them anymore. I'm gonna find them. I'm gonna find them somewhere because I think it's important to show this because this is how I got through my first gig or three, and how I got through the rehearsal and everything like that. So back to the story. Did the rehearsals. And, after the rehearsals, it's like, all right, cool. I fly back home and this is Friday. Friday passed. I don't hear anything. All right, cool. If it's meant to be, it'll be. Saturday comes and mind you, the tour was starting that next Wednesday. So, Saturday comes and I still haven't heard any information. They haven't even asked for my passport, none of that. Sunday comes. I'm like, all right, I gotta see what's going on. So I messaged the tour manager and I'm like, hey, what's going on. I haven't heard anything. How'd everything go? Like, just trying to really see if I'm gonna be on the gig or whatever. And she messaged me back and she's like, hey, don't cancel anything that you have coming up. We haven't solidified anything yet. In my mind, I'm like, man, I already canceled everything that I got for the next week, next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month. You know what I mean? And I'm like, man, hey, God gave me the opportunity and I felt like I did what I needed to do to make the opportunity happen. And if it's supposed to happen, it'll happen. Like that was literally my mindset through the whole thing. Tuesday comes around. No, where were we at? Sunday? Yeah. Monday, I think it was Monday or Tuesday. Either one of those days comes around. And she messages me. And I'm like, hey, is everything all right? Like, am I doing it? Because it starts tomorrow. You know what I mean? She's like, oh, they didn't send you your flight details or anything? And I'm like when she said that, I kind of settled because I'm like, all right, cool. I see that I got the gig, or whatever like that. So, she ends up sending me all of the flight details and everything like that. Get on the plane, I go. I think we flew in a day early and then had the next day off and then had our first show. And our first show was this packed show. It was somewhere, I don't know where it was. But it was super, super packed. I was nervous because I didn't feel 100% comfortable with the music simply because I never been on stage with them before. I didn't know what type of artist, he was or anything like that. You know what I mean? But I did the best I could do to prepare. I had all of my notes. And if you ever look at any of Nas's clips from 2022 and you see me on drums, you'll literally see me playing, looking at the side like this, looking at my I had a mini iPad that had my notes on it. And while the song was going on, I'm looking at the iPad. It's like at bar 4, you stop on the E of blah, blah, like all of that detail was in my notes. So I'm like, all right, bet, you know what I mean? So I get up there and of course I got to show my confidence. I can't look like I'm nervous. You know what I mean? I can't play like I'm nervous, but I'm playing and I'm just literally sitting it was nothing like what you saw when you came to the gig. Nothing like it. I'm just sitting back, playing the pocket, just sitting, kicks in their hat, looking at my notes and, looking at the stage, of course, looking at him, all of that type of stuff. So a couple drops that I missed in the first gig. Second gig comes around. I got better at the drops because these were some drops that they had just custom created in their show. You know what I mean? Like some of the drops aren't in the song. So all of the drops that weren't in the song, I didn't know them because I haven't done a show yet before the first show. So that's what I was really nervous about. Like, oh, I know it's going to be some drops in here that I don't know. Just hopefully I stop when, when it's time. So, second show comes around, third show comes around, still looking at my notes, getting comfortable. By the fourth show, I'm like, all right, bet. I'm in here. You know what I mean? Like I'm about to, start playing with more confidence, more swag and stuff like that. By the fifth or sixth show, we used to do Nas has a song called Ultra Black. And after the show, Green Lantern, he used to just spin that. And I would just play sket, 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 sket. And one of the shows we did, the monitor engineer, he was in the talkback. So I heard him in the talkback. He was like, go off, Haze, go off, Haze. So at first I was just chilling, kind of doing some fills. And this was the outro, Nas walks off stage and stuff like that. And Green Lantern, he's like, appreciate y'all for coming out, blah, 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 and stuff like that while the tune is just playing. And then I do like a fill and he turns and I do another one. And then he's like, go off, Haze, or whatever like that. So I just start going crazy for the outro. And that became from that day on, that became the outro each show that we did for the rest of that tour. And then, after that, I was just, I was solidified, you know what I mean? And then, some gigs after that, going back to Hate Me Now, like playing Hate Me Now, like I would be more aggressive on that song and take the spots that I took. And then we did the Nas and Wu-Tang tour at the end of 2022. And Nas's manager, he said to me, what you doing Hate Me Now? We want you to do that on every song. So I know I can't, I can't be on New York State of Mind going, you know what I mean, going crazy like that. But I knew what he meant. They wanted that energy. They wanted me to be me. You know what I mean? So Once I got comfortable and got set in, it from there everything just took off. At first I came in, settling, chilling, you know, thinking I had to sing a couple songs, and then by the end of that tour, it was like, let's get it. You know what I mean? Like, energy is crazy. Like, it seems like the whole everything just shifted after that tour. Like, we were doing a lot more kind of laid back songs at first, and then now, I mean, you saw the show. Like, got yourself a gun, made you look, like all of that type of stuff. Like, we're doing all bangers. So it's just, that was the journey, pretty much. That was the journey to how I got the gig and how I became, everything. You know what I mean, on the gig like that. And I'm gonna keep scrolling while you're talking. I'm gonna keep scrolling, trying to find these notes that I took.
Sweet. Yeah, yeah. But man, that's such an amazing story, man. Thanks for sharing all that, man. That's such a like, yeah. I felt like very passionate listening to that. That was a beautiful thing to listen to. But so were you, like, before you got the Nas gig, were you quite familiar with his music already, or did you have to, like, basically, I mean, I guess as you were taking notes, I assume there was like a lot of songs that you
Yeah,
didn't know, but
I didn't know a majority of the songs. The only
right,
songs I knew, well, I didn't. I'm not even gonna say the songs I knew. The only songs I've
right,
ever heard were "I Know I Can,"
yeah,
uh, "The World Is Yours," and "If I Rule the World." Those were the only
right,
three I've ever actually like heard multiple times.
right,
I heard "Made You Look" before, but I only really heard the beat. I didn't know the song. And I wasn't big into hip hop before playing with him. I was big into R&B, gospel, funk, you know what I mean, stuff like that. Those were the gigs that I was doing. But what works out amazingly is he's a jazz head. You know what I mean? He loves jazz music. He
mm,
loves R&B music. You know what I mean? So everything that I was doing is basically what he loves to listen to outside of us doing the show. You know what I mean? Like, of course he's one of the top rappers in the world, but he's heavily influenced. If you listen to everything he's done is jazz inspired. Everything on Illmatic is jazz inspired. You know what I mean? Like, take jazz sample, chop it up, throw a beat under it, and you know what I mean, or something like "Get Down." That's funk. Clive Stubblefield on drums, James Brown. You know what I mean? Like, there's an element to some other genre in all of his music. So it worked out that I wasn't like this major hip hop head. I feel like this super boom bap, whatever like that, because that's not what his music is, or that's not what his music requires. You know what I mean? So it was cool, and just being able to see him, and even Green Lantern. He's a jazz head too. You know what I mean? Like, they both love jazz, neo soul, R&B stuff, like I just said. So being able to see how they appreciated what I had to offer, instead of trying to turn me into some type of Questlove or Daru Jones, you know what I mean? Like, because those are normally the two people, whenever somebody speak on hip hop, those are normally the two people that I hear. Like, Questlove is probably the first person that you hear when it comes to hip hop, or whatever like that. But to see that they weren't trying to, turn me into that was super respectable, and I appreciated it. And I found I found the list, by the way. Hopefully, is it, let me know when it becomes clear.
wait, hold it a little closer. Oh yeah, here, 8 bars and break on beats 3/4.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Damn,
So,
man.
and I gotta, like this list is going, and I did this for almost every gig that we did outside of that tour. Like, we did Essence Festival, or we did a joint in New York, and the set list kind of changed. So I just like copied and pasted whatever songs we did and which ones we didn't. There I am jotting down the notes again. You know what I mean? So that
Right.
that's my guide. Like, people have sheet music, in concert band and stuff like that. I use that. You know what I mean?
Right. And so when you're out on the road with Nas, is it kind of like he travels separately to you and DJ Green Lantern,
Hmm.
or yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
do you guys kind of get to hang out or
yeah, yeah, yeah,
not really?
definitely.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Definitely, yeah. And that's the great thing about the whole team in general, like Nas, of course, but the team in general is just everybody is super chill. Everybody, we're people. You know what I mean? It's not like here's the celebrity that's always separate from everybody. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's very personable. We have conversations, even in sound checks. Like we talk, and in rehearsals, we talk. Asking questions and give us some answers and stories about stuff that we're curious about. You know what I mean? Like super personable, and they invite that. You know what I mean? They invite the personable aspect of um just being working partners. You know what I mean? Being together, being on the road. Like it's boring if you can't like enjoy who you're out with. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's super cool.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I mean, Nas does seem, when you see him talk and interviews and stuff, he does seem like a very like down to earth, cool kind of humble guy. Obviously, despite all the all the accolades and all the
Mm-hmm.
fame and all that, but yeah, he does seem like a cool down to earth guy. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah, and so when you are on tour, obviously with touring comes a lot of like downtime, right? A lot of time in hotels or
Yes.
in I don't know if you guys travel in like a nightliner or like a tour bus,
Mm-hmm.
probably.
Mm-hmm.
What do you kind of like to do on your downtime? Do you spend a lot of time on the pad, or do you just kind of like to watch movies? What's kind of your thing?
I wish I spent my time on the pad. Actually, I don't. I don't wish that. I ain't gonna lie. But bro, I spend my off time reading my Bible, watching movies, watching YouTube, just learning different things. Learning different things about music, learning different things about life. I spend my time doing some financial management for myself and for my family. Just looking at our monthly expenses, our monthly income, and just trying to see, all right, what is the best way that we can go about continuing to live comfortably. When I get off the road, what do we, what are we gonna do? What is it gonna look like when I get off the road? You know what I mean? Like, let me make sure I have money for when I'm not traveling and touring, so that I can, so that my family can stay afloat. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like my wife doesn't work or anything like that, but you know what I mean. So yeah, man, that's really what it. And I get into new things sometimes, like this past tour, after the shows I'm normally still pretty energetic for a few hours. So the curfew at the shows is normally 11, and when we would leave the venue it'd be about 2 something in the morning, and I'm still energetic most times, still got that show adrenaline going on. So I wouldn't go to sleep till like 4 or 5 o'clock sometimes. And this past tour, I made my first beat. You know what I mean? Like people always ask, "Yo, do you make beats or are you into production?" I'm not into production really, and I don't make beats. I would like to get into it, but I just haven't really considered it important enough to me just yet to actually get into it. Um, but yeah, I made my first beat, but studying things about microphones, about lighting, about cameras, coming up with different content plans. I know I use the app. Well, most of the times I use my notes, but sometimes I'll use the app Canva just to create a planner for myself for when I get back home. What kind of content am I going to create? When am I going to sit down and create the content? When am I going to plan the content out? Like stuff like that. Like all of this type of stuff I'm doing on the off time that I have. So yeah, man, that's doing push ups, lifting, sometimes,
Yeah.
thing like just a bunch of things, man. I get a lot of downtime.
Right.
So yeah, man, it goes into me just seeing how I can better myself, better myself for my family. You know what I mean? Spiritually, physically, mentally, all of that kind of, all of that jazz. You know?
Right, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so with the beat making, what did you use to make the beat? I'm curious.
Logic. I use Logic. And DJ Green Lantern, I don't know what kind of pad he had, but it was sort of like an MPC. Because he does music and make beats and stuff like that as well.
Right.
So he had that while we was out on the road, and one night, I was just up. We was chatting in the top lounge in the bus. We was just chatting for a while, and he asked, "Did I ever get into beat making?" I said, "No, not really." He was like, "I got this pad. Like, just check it out. Maybe you should try it or whatever like that." So we was up one night, and I've always had this idea, so I put it in Logic. I stripped the vocals. I used Moises to strip the vocals and chop the section that I wanted. Put that joint on Logic. And then I just queued up some of my sample drums that I have out for sale, by the way. If anybody wants it, go to the link in my biography. On Instagram. What's my Instagram? At Haze_Amaze. Go in the link and get the samples. But yeah, I use some of my samples to make the beat. You know what I mean? And it was fun and it was cool. But after that, I was just kind of like, all right, I'm gonna just sit with this for a while, listen to it a lot, see what I like, see what I don't like, and get back to it when I get back to it, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Was it a machine? Because look, I just got this bad boy the other day.
It was like that. Yeah. It was just like that.
Yeah. Because I'm starting to like make beats now as well. Because I listen to so much hip hop, man, that I'm like, I just got this like this newfound kind of craving to put out, to put beat ideas, and obviously with playing drums and stuff, I feel like I have a good hearing just for, well, obviously, for rhythm and for drum beats and stuff, and coming up with interesting stuff, and so yeah, man, I just had to buy that thing to bring it to fruition.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. But so with the Instagram content, obviously you're a very prolific social media influencer, shall we say?
Thank you.
What made you realize you kind of needed to start a brand to make an impact, and when did that idea kind of come about to turn Haze Amaze into like a brand? And yeah.
Do I know the actual moment? I don't know the actual moment. But I would say maybe around 2017 or 18. I had Instagram when I was in high school, and I was just following a bunch of people that I knew from school and stuff like that, and it was posting a bunch of stuff I didn't care about. So I was like, dang, all I want to do is scroll down and see drums. I don't want to see this kind of post. I don't want to see that negativity kind of post and all of that type of stuff. So I deleted that Instagram and restarted my Instagram. 2017 or 18, I forget which year it was. And when I started playing, I was playing in a local band, and I would post videos every now and again. And they did the band posted a video, and it got a lot of numbers and views and stuff like that. So after that, I was like, okay, maybe this can become a thing. But I just started posting what I wanted to post. You know what I mean? I don't think I really sat down and was like, okay, here's my brand. Here's what my brand is going to be about. Here's why I need a brand. I don't think I sat down and did that until probably like COVID, or something like that. So yeah, it just kind of came about. I was heavily inspired by Aaron Spears, seeing him in all of the clinics that he did, not just playing with artists. Playing with artists is great. It's fun. It's a good time, all of that. But seeing the amount of clinics that he would do, seeing his name on the Zildjian cymbal packs, seeing his name, seeing his face, his face and his name on Zildjian cymbal packs, on Vic Firth things, on Remo stuff, DW, well, when he was with DW, but just seeing his face and name on all of this stuff was just like, there's more to it than just playing with an artist. You know what I mean? Like that's what made Aaron Spears to me, is the fact that he strived and had much success in his own thing. You know what I mean? clinics, speaking engagements, all of that kind of stuff. So that is what really sparked me to be like, all right, this is my path now. They're like, this is where I see my path going, from just playing with this artist or that artist to, all right, let me be myself. Let me be the brand. You know what I mean? And then I started, watching different videos and listening to different people who've had success over the years, and reading, just reading every now and again about some different successful people, just kind of understanding that there's more to it than just playing a drum set. You know what I mean? And once I really understood that and understood that it's music business, and I got to get my business together, you know what I mean? That's when it really clicked for me. Like, all right, this is what I need to do if I want to do this. This is what I need to do if I want to do this. You know what I mean? Like, really, really just getting more into myself as the brand. And that's what really I can't, but again, I can't really say when I had that moment like click. You know what I mean? But just over the course of time, it just I just kind of transitioned into wanting to, do more things as my brand.
Right. And so when you come off tour,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very kind of curious. Do you still spend time in the shed practicing quite a
Mm-hmm.
bit, or what do you do when you're back home? Are you is there a big local music scene in DC where you
Mm-hmm.
play? Do you play around town, or yeah? Tell me about what you do when you're off tour.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't practice as much as I would need to or like to. Um, But when I'm home, man, this is what I'm doing right here. being being a stay at home dad. That's my first job. But yeah, being a stay at home dad and husband is like that's the majority of what I do when I'm back home. I have a band. We're called Attention. That is ATTINSHUN, in which I'm of course the drummer for the band, but I also am a singer in the band and write and produce the music for us as well. I don't do it on my own. It's me. My cousin is the bass player. I call him the lead of the band because he's the guy. You know what I mean? And my brother, he plays guitar and sings with the band. Of course, writes like we. And then my cousin Brandon, I call him a cousin. He's a very very close family friend, but I call him a cousin. Brandon Jacobs on keys. He writes and does the production for the band as well. So we all sing, write, and do production for our music, and we all play it, of course. We do open mics here. Unfortunately, fortunately, but unfortunately, throughout the year, I'm traveling a lot, so I'm not always able to be at the open mics, and I'm grateful to have great friends, who I call my brothers. To I can call them and be like, "Yo, could you play the open mic this day? Could you play the open mic that day?" Or whatever like that. And they'll be like, "Yeah, I got you, bro." You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for them. Um, but other than that, man, I'm in the house, just um, thinking about how I can continue in this content creation, social media business. You know, and doing what I love to do, man. I changed my drum heads the other day. I love tuning drums, so I put that off until I felt like I really wanted to just sit down here and be down here for some hours. So I was down here for some hours, tuning drums. But I play my video game a lot. I'm on Xbox. For those who play games, I'm on Xbox. I play a lot of Call of Duty and a lot of Madden. Those are the two games that I play. Um, but yeah, that's what life at home looks like for me, and doing my content and everything like that is just a business in itself at this point. Um, but yeah, man, that's what it looks like for me.
Hell yeah, man! And so with this the band Attention, you might have mentioned it. What kind of music is it?
We do all kinds of music. We
Okay.
do R&B, hip hop, soul, rock, We literally have it all. We have an album out called Attention Volume 1 that you can get on all streaming platforms. Again, that is ATTINSHUN. If you go on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you go and you type that in, you'll see our first album. Y'all will hear me. I wrote and produced this and sang on and played drums on the song called One Day at a Time. That's my joint right there. That's my baby. But yeah, we had, now that it's Christmas time, we do have 2 singles out for Christmas. One is called Christmas Time, and the other is called That's All I Want, actually. And I'm singing on both of those songs. My cousin's singing, of course, my brother's singing. We all playing again. So if y'all get a moment, go on whatever music streaming platform you got and type in ATTINSHUN, which spells attention, so yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out when we're done talking.
Appreciate you, man.
I'm gonna go right on Spotify, man, and check that out. So like with the production, you said, did you say you play keys as well?
I don't. I know how, but I don't.
Right.
I'm not a keyboard player. I just know how a little bit. Yeah.
Then yeah, I don't know how I just got to keys, but yeah, with the production, with the singing, you obviously said you sing. How long have you been doing that, or how much experience have you had doing that stuff?
I've been singing all my life. I come from a family of singers, so singing in the choir as a kid and everything like that, and still singing to this day. Yeah, singing all my life, and then with like the production and songwriting is going on like 5 years now, I think. What's this, 2024? So 2019 or whatever like that. Yeah, just about 5 or 6 years, something like that.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Sweet. And there was something else I was going to ask. Oh yeah, so coming back to like practice,
yes.
I know you said that kind of you would like to practice more than you actually do, but with practice, I always ask people on the podcast what their approach to practice is. So when you actively, either in the past or in the future or whatever, when you go to actively practice, what's your kind of method? Are you someone who keeps practice log with the BPMs and all that stuff, or are you kind of more of like I know there's people who sit down, they first maybe smash out some ideas, and then they'll break something down that they realize, oh wait, hang on, this didn't quite work, but it's a cool little idea. Let me break that down.
Right.
What's kind of your approach to practice?
When I come down to practice, I have a playlist that I have just a bunch of music that I like to share it to. I'll come down and I'll play a lot and play some more, and then I'll turn that playlist on. And I'll play to the songs. I'll grab the patterns from those songs and just learn them. Try to, get them to the best of my ability. Copying drum machines isn't always easy. So just trying to see like, all right, if I played for this artist, or if I went to an audition for this artist, how would I play this song? You know what I mean? So I would kind of practice how I play it like that. And then I'll just like throughout my practice, man, a lot of times I play whatever I want to play. You know what I mean? Like, practice is the only place I feel like you can play whatever you want to play, and nobody's here to say, oh, you shouldn't do it like that, or don't, you know what I mean? Like, you literally can do whatever you want, whenever you want, when you practice. You know what I mean? So that's a mindset that I developed some years back. Like, I used to practice, and I used to be like, all right, I can't mess up. Like, what are we practicing for if you can't mess up? You know what I mean? So now at this point, I just do what I want. And that's literally what it looks like for me. If I want to play a different setup, I'll take toms off or move toms and stuff like that, and just get acquainted with playing drums in different places. But if I have a gig coming up or something like that, obviously I'll have the playlist for that, and I'll come down and practice the songs, practice playing the songs, practice playing the music, practice getting the patterns, practice retaining the music. And yeah, like that's that's really my practice method. If I'm coming down here just to play, like I'll come down, I'll play, and like you said, if you run across the idea that didn't quite make it out, like I'll let the song keep playing, and I'll keep trying it, and if I can't get it in the tempo of the song, then I'll just stop the song and I'll slow it down. I'll record it, be like, I like that. I'm gonna come back to it. I'm gonna keep that one in the piggy bank, and I never do it again. You know what I mean? Like I always forget to go back and look at my videos too, because when I'm playing most times, man, I'm playing what I feel out of my heart. You know what I mean? Like I can't recall the time where I premeditate. Okay, I'm gonna do this right here. Or I'm gonna do that right there. Like a lot of times, if I'm playing a show and I'm learning the music, I'm like, oh, all right, I'm gonna take this spot. But it's not like I'm gonna do this specific lick or this specific chop right here at this very moment. You know what I mean? Unless it comes to playing with the artist that's used to you doing a certain thing. Like going back to Nas, he's used to me doing some of the accents. So when I miss it, like I'll see him do the motion with like his hand or, like his body or something like that. And if I miss the accent, like I know I missed the accent. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, they don't make a big deal out of it. Like, oh, you missed it. You know what I mean? But just to see that from day one, it wasn't like that. And then over time, you do things so much and so consistently that the artist picks up on it or the music director picks up on it or whatever like that. So it's just kind of building that unconscious consistency of doing something, and they pick it up. And, now it's kind of like they're looking for it, even though they're not saying they're looking for it. They're looking for it to happen. You know what I mean? So just kind of that thing when I get down to practice, just having different forms of practicing, whether I'm practicing to play a show, whether I'm practicing to do a recording. Like if I'm practicing to do a recording, then I'm calculating everything, because when I press record, like it's not like I can't stop and start over, while I'm in the house. But if I'm in an actual studio session, like I would want to actually nail it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times the first take isn't what you go with. So, if I'm in a session with people, I just try to minimize the amount of time that I'm taking up in the session doing my part. I don't want to be in the session like still learning the music or, still trying to gather what sounds I want to play and stuff like that. Like that's just not how I always like to operate. So yeah, man, just literally practicing, doing what you want to do. Tune your drums however you want to tune them. I don't think there's no perfect way to tune drums. I have my methods and the way I like to tune, but my methods don't sound good to everybody. How I tune my drums don't always sound great to everybody. So yeah, man, like I would strongly encourage to just practice and play what you want to play. Express yourself,
Yeah, make practice fun. I mean, because sometimes I think it's easy as a drummer, especially nowadays. With the social media world and seeing everybody's throwing out all their chops and everything they've ever learned in 15 seconds, and it's like I feel like it's easy for people to be like, oh shit, I have to go and like I need to break down the rudiments and I need to do all this like independence left foot, and it kind of drives people crazy sometimes, or at least I mean I can only speak for myself, but I get that. Where I'm like, oh damn man, I got a lot of like I feel like I'm always playing catch up with like I feel like I can always do more and always like oh this person's so good, and but
I feel that.
But yeah, I like the sentiment, man, of like going in and like making your practice time something that you enjoy doing, and especially I like the sentiment of practicing within a musical context, because obviously at the end of the day that's what it's all for anyway, right? So it doesn't matter if you can play blazing fast paradiddles or six stroke rolls or pataflapas or
unless that's the kind of music that you're getting hired to, unless that's the thing you're getting hired to do, you know what I mean? Like if you're playing with Dream Theater, you gotta have some type of crazy weird mind coordination going on to where you can play 4 different things in your left foot, another 4 different things in your right hand. You know what I mean? Like it's man. Like it's something for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. But were you or were you ever? Are you kind of into like the rudiments and learning the rudiments, or Is that, have you never kind of been too focused on stickings and rudiments?
I mean, I'm into learning them. Do I learn them? No, I don't. I would like to, but again, that's one of those things that I haven't deemed important enough to me to be like, I need to sit down and you know what I mean? But when I was in high school for 4 years, I mean, of course, I was in high school. I did concert band and jazz band, and each week we had a percussion lesson teacher come in. So, you know, reading music, when we were reading, you know, a lot of times it's the R or the L under it, you know, and the accent over top. So a lot of that stuff is rudimentary. I'm playing rudiments that I don't know what the rudiment might be, but I'm playing it because it's on the sheet music right here. You know what I mean? So, but I haven't been one to necessarily sit down and say, I'm going to take these paradiddles from 12 BPM to 500 BPM, you know what I mean? Or these radimacules, you know, whatever, you know, all of these crazy kind of rudiments. I haven't been one to really sit down and say, let me learn how to do all of these rudiments. Yeah, I just kind of always been like, as long as I can play singles and doubles, it seems to be working for me just fine, you know? So I'm gonna keep excelling in what I'm doing. If I come across a rudiment, that I like, if I'm sharing with another drummer and they play a rudiment that I think sounds crazy dope, then I'll ask, yo, what is that? You know what I mean? And, you know, kind of thing. But yeah, never really sat down and yeah.
But then how would you put together? Because obviously your chops are just like absolutely ridiculous, man. Like out of this world. But,
normal
like,
chops.
I mean, I wouldn't. I'd go a little further than saying they're normal, but they're
I appreciate that.
Pretty damn outstanding, man. But
it's a blessing.
So with your chops, right? Like, walk me through how did those like come about? Was that just kind of a natural evolution thing for you, or was it kind of did you have a phase in your life where you went like right kick left, or right left kick, or, you know, like what was kind of the way that you got those chops? Or also what would your advice be for other, you know, players coming up that want to better their chops?
Yeah, I would say for me, I picked it up, you know, from watching, of course, Aaron Spears, watching Matt Gartzka, when I was younger, watching Nick Smith. Those are probably Nick Smith and Aaron Spears were probably the two top drummers I used to watch when I was young. And just literally watching videos and picking it up. I distinctly remember the first time I did a chop. I was downstairs in the basement, and I used to play to a radio. I had an MP3 player, and I would hook it up to this little CD radio player that my sister had, and I would put the aux in and play it out of the radio. And I was playing, and I was playing "Blame It" by Jamie Foxx, and my godbrother, he was downstairs with me, in the room, and I played it, and I did a chop. I didn't necessarily know that I did a chop or anything, but when I did it, it felt natural and it felt good. Like it just rolled off, and I crashed on the one, and I didn't stop or anything. I just kept playing. You know what I mean? And after that, like it was just like, wait, did I just do that? You know what I mean? Like kind of thing. And then, yeah, man, like. Just watching YouTube, man. Watching YouTube is literally how I developed my creativity, I feel like, in drumming. Watching a bunch of different drummers, and just going hard when I was young, bro. Like I played drums pretty much every day for lots and lots of hours until my mom would tell me to get off, or until it got too late, or until it was time to eat dinner, or, you know, whatever like that. Like I would just play in school. Any chance I got, I just play. And I just feel like over the years, it developed. You know what I mean? I know what kind of learner I am. I learn best when I watch, or I learn best I learn best visually. You know what I mean? So just watching and repetition is just how I kind of picked up the flow. I mean, of course, I feel like it's a gift that God has given me. but what is a gift that God gives you if you don't nurture it? You know what I mean? So I did all that I could to be as good as I can be. And things seem to be paying off pretty well, and I'm grateful for it. But my advice to others who are trying to learn, I would say learn. I think the first part of it, if you're conscious enough to do it, learn how you learn. Like, how do you learn? Do you learn by reading? Do you learn by listening? Do you learn by watching? Do you learn by physically doing things? You know what I mean? Like, how do you learn? And once you figure out how's the best way that you learn and soak up information, then I would say definitely go to the greats. You know what I mean? Just watch drummers that you like. If you see a drummer and you're very inspired by how they play, watch them. Like right now, I'm heavily inspired by Stanley Randolph, Josh Foster, CJ Thompson. You know what I mean? Like them three, anytime I see a video of them, I stay and watch the video. Of course, my favorite drummer being Jeremy Wimbush, whenever he drops a video, like I'm watching, but them three in particular right now are my wave. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm just watching, listening, and applying. You know what I mean? If one of them do something that I like, I listen to them play a song, and I'm like, dang, I like the way that they didn't like fully hit the crash. They just kind of hit the crash. You know what I mean? Like they're just picking up different things from your different influences, and then seeing things that they do that you don't like, and being like, well, I would have played it this way. And I feel like that's where you come into play. That's where you start to develop your sound, when you can start to hear, okay, yeah, I want to do this here, I want to do that here, I want to do that here. And studying, listening to people like Brian Fraser Moore, Mike Reed, people under Adam Blackstone. Like I like pretty much everything that he does. You know what I mean? So listening to the drummers, like, okay, if I want to do that kind of gig, how do I get the gig? Okay, let me listen to the drummers who have the gig and who's had the gig for all of these years. You know what I mean? Chris Johnson, like, you know what I mean? Like RJ Kelly, all of these people who are doing the type of stuff that I would like to do. You know what I mean? So I would say learn, like figure out your best way of learning. Don't be stubborn. You know what I mean? Don't be stubborn. Don't always try to fit the mold. You know what I mean? Like there's always a wave going on. I would say be individual, be authentically you. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like draws people to you. If you just be authentic, you know what I mean? If you're trying to be somebody else, like if I'm trying to be CJ Thompson, what's going to stop them from just calling CJ Thompson from the gig, then calling me? You know what I mean? Or if I'm trying to be whoever, So yeah, those are just a couple things I say. If you're trying to develop like those chops, or you're trying to develop a sound, see the best way that you can learn, listen to your influences, practice, and I would even say like just mimic. You know what I mean? Like I can mouth out every chop that Aaron Spears did on the Modern Drummer Festival. I watched that video so much. I don't think I've ever tried to sit down and play what he's played, but just mimicking it like that, by beatboxing it, it helps my brain develop. Like, okay, if I'm playing this kind of song, here's what it sound good if I do it while I'm playing that kind of song. You know what I mean? Like just a bunch of different ways, man, that you could develop it. You just gotta understand yourself. You know what I mean? Do your best to understand who you are and why you do what you do. I feel like the why will help bring things together too. It'll keep that motivation driving in you. But yeah, those are a couple of little tips to to help anybody who's in that boat.
Hell yeah, man. And I also wanted to ask you, when you're doing like when you're going from like a groove into like some like tom stuff, but you're keeping some time with the hat, with the hats. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like
with my left foot?
It's like no, like with your left hand. Do you know what I mean? Where like you're keeping a groove and then you're doing like some nice patterns on the toms and kind of kind of going through but then coming back to the hat and just
I
playing
believe I know what you're talking about.
Is that kind of something that it's like you keep the pocket going on the hat with the left hand, all while kind of doing the little tom embellishments or whatever. Is that kind of something that also just like naturally evolved, or was that something did you actively ever practice like open-handed playing or?
Yeah, I've actively practiced keeping the time, keeping the feel of the groove going while doing a fill, and trying not to break the beat necessarily. So, sometimes I'll play, and when I'm playing and I do a lick to bring us into the verse or bring us into the chorus or take us out of the bridge or something like that, like how a lot of times how I keep my time is by keeping my left foot going on my hi-hat to keep the hi-hats going, you know what I mean, or whatever like that. Or if I'm going to my toms, one thing that I've developed as of the past few years is keeping my like starting with my left hand. Because my left hand is normally on the snare, my right hand is on the hi-hats. It's more natural for the time to continue to flow if my right hand is still kind of keeping the time while my left hand is starting my lick. So that way I'm not breaking up what's going on the hi-hats in order to start a lick. Yeah, I don't do it all the time, you know what I mean? But it's something that I do my best to create a habit to do, you know what I mean? So, like when you're playing a groove and you do a lick, if somebody's going like that while you're playing the groove, the last thing you want is for them to be like, and then come back into, to stop grooving while you do a lick, you know what I mean? But yeah, so just trying to continue to develop, keeping that pace, you know what I mean? Keep things flowing throughout you doing a lick or, whatever like that.
Right. All right. And tell me about meeting Questlove. What was Questlove like, and how was that moment?
It was what it was. Like, like obviously Questlove is industry giant, but he was with the Roots that day. Of course, well, I'm not gonna say of course because he does things other than the Roots, but he was with the Roots that day, and he got off stage, and I was sitting back there because still just waiting around to meet the tour manager and stuff like that. And as he was walking, this is when I had my bush. I had to pick too, you know what I mean? And by the way, that wasn't inspired by Questlove when I used to wear the bush and stuff like that. Like I generally I love the 70s era. And when I have my bush and stuff like that, like that's what inspired that. But yeah, meeting him, I mean, it was just cool. Telling him who I was, and he was like, "Oh, nice to meet you," or whatever like that. So he shook hands and asked, "Could I get a pic?" Took a pic, and he kept walking to his dressing room or wherever he went. It wasn't nothing special,
Right. Yeah, man. Questlove is. I think things fall apart is officially changing my drum sound because it's just the sonics, the sonics on that album, man, are so good. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I want to start tuning my drums up that way because
right. No, I feel that. With Questlove, for me, it goes beyond drumming. For me with him, like I will always say one of the biggest moments that really made me just be like, dang, like Questlove is the dude. I was watching the Super Bowl at my parents' house a couple years back, and a Lipton commercial came on, and it was his voice. You knew who I knew who it was by his voice. You know what I mean? I know what he sounds like, but then he appeared on the commercial, and I was like, yo, this dude is on a Lipton Super Bowl commercial, like. I don't know how big everybody else thinks that is, but to me that is huge. To have a commercial going on during the Super Bowl, I feel like the Super Bowl might be the most watched thing in the world. You know what I mean? And to be on a commercial during the Super Bowl is wild to me. You know what I mean? Like people might not, because I run into this quite often, people who aren't musicians or who aren't into music really. They might not know his name, but they know who he is. They know he's the drummer from the Roots with the Bush. You know what I mean? Like, he has a brand. So also he's someone who inspired me to be like, okay, like your brand is everything. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's a industry giant to me, and somebody that when it comes to like you know, who I can't say model myself after, but who I look at as like, dang, I would love to be in that position. It would be Questlove for sure. Yeah, he's done some amazing things. It still is, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, he's incredible, man. He's such an icon. Yeah, man, but we're coming to the end of the episode.
Okay.
Is there anything that you want to plug? Anything you got coming up?
Oh yeah. I was waiting. I thought you had more. What is going on in my world? I got some things coming out for next year. I can't speak on everything. I would just say keep up with me. Keep up with me on social media. Instagram at Haze_Amaze_. Keep up with me on TikTok. I think it's Haze Amaze _. Keep up with me on YouTube, Haze Amaze. And y'all will see some things that I'm working on for next year. But one thing that I really am excited to bring to y'all is going to be called Lessons from the Crib. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Y'all stay tuned and be ready. You know, just be ready for it. But I have some amazing things lined up for next year that I'm extremely hype about, and I'm gonna be loud about it. I'm definitely gonna be loud about it. Y'all gonna know. So if y'all follow me on any social media, and even if y'all don't, it might just pop up on y'all feeds. But y'all gonna know, you know. So I'm just hyped. I'm hyped to really be stepping into my brand. You know what I mean? Like the goal from where I'm from has always been, you start off here, make it to play for a big artist, and then what next? You know what I mean? Like a lot of times there is no what next. And I've instilled in my heart there's definitely gonna be a what next for me. You know what I mean? Like I said, I love playing for artists and stuff like that, but if the artist ain't working, you ain't working. And I don't want that to be my reality forever, you know? So yeah, I'm definitely hyped for some things in the coming year.
Right on, man. Thank you so much for taking the time, Haze. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me on here. I'm glad we finally, you know, got to be able to do this. I know we had to reschedule a couple of times, but yeah, man, it's a blessing that you are even interested in, you know, hearing what I have to say. You know what I mean? It kind of reassures and reconfirms that I'm doing something right. You know what I mean? And I'm forever grateful and blessed to be, you know, a part of this platform and any other platform that, you know, that's going on that I'll be on in the future, you know. One thing I do want to say about next year is that I'll be taking on the role of being the youth leader at my church. So I'll be coming to y'all a lot more with spiritual things. So if you're into that, even if you're not into it, I say tune in. You know, hopefully something that I say or that I do can, you know, help change your life in some form of fashion. So yeah, y'all be on the lookout for that.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
Haze,
sir.
You take care, man. Good chatting to you.
Yes, I appreciate you, Harry.